I'm back, y'all. I had to get off. Like when I come over here in this area, it puts me on the Wi-Fi, the local Wi-Fi, and I can't really see you all's comments and stuff like that. When I closed the live out, I saw that you all were commenting, but I couldn't see it when I was doing the live. But but yeah. So Juicy. What Juicy showed you all was that a lot of times it's us creating these fake hate crime scenarios because we want to be oppressed. Nobody wants to talk about that. We have a real sickness in our community where we actually identify our existence with oppression, meaning that if we're not experiencing some kind of oppression, then we're not actually living. We're not actually having the Black experience. And if you remember, we call the Black experience the struggle. We don't call it greatness. So all these subconscious messages that have seeped into the minds of the average Black person is why I say we should not be Black. What's up, Mimi? Mimi, could you all hear me on the last live? Just to make sure, could y'all hear me? But this is why I say don't be Black, because your mind, there's already a conditioning that comes with being Black. It's already a script that comes with being Black. It's already a mindset. It's already a culture, a way to live. It's no freedom in being Black. If you're Black, you have to stick to this script. If you're Black, you got to vote Democrat. If you're Black, you can't date outside your race. If you're Black, the Black men can date outside of their race, but the Black women can date outside of their race. When Black women do it, they found love. When Black men do it, it's because they hate their mama. When you Black, you gotta go to the Black church. When you Black, you gotta limit your goals. When you Black, you gotta have swag. You gotta look the part. Like being Black is all scripted and is confining. When you Black, you gotta play sports. When you Black, they don't tell you you could be an astronaut. When you Black, you got to get a good job. They don't talk about being CEOs or being careers. Having a career. Talking about y'all bossing up and being all Black culture is the thing that's going to drive the nail in the coffin for our people. And this is why I talk against it so much, because I see that we are controlled by white liberals through Black culture. They don't have to address us. They can just address a Black culture. So Joe Biden can just say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Yeah, he's attacking Black culture because he knows that if the white liberals say that Trump is racist, then he's racist. And I already said that Black culture says if a white person is confident, they're racist. If a white person doesn't cater or pander to you, they're racist. So, but getting back to Juicy though, we wanted Juicy to escape punishment because he was Black. And I want y'all to understand how not only dangerous that is, but how also exposing it is of our true intentions. You see, our true intention is we don't really care about racism just as long as we can do something that's wrong and get away with it. Because we feel like white folks are doing wrong and getting away with it, even though white folks is all in the prisons, even though white folks is all in the jail, even though white folks is all on parole and probation, even though we still feel like they're getting away with it. They're not being punished for it. So the last time I was talking about, getting silver. Getting silver. Mimi put on here, talk about the unclean spirit. Yes. And that's what Black culture really is. It's a culture of an unclean spirit. It's a culture of an unclean spirit. Yes, that is exactly what it is. Because what we've done is we've associated being lesser than or not putting forth our best effort or being average, mediocre. We've associated those things with being Black. So a person, what you should say, you're talking white. or they think or you talking white, or you acting white, or you think you better. Like all these things are what black culture is, because black culture was never created for an advancement of a people. Black culture was created to keep a people in bondage. That's why it was created. So it was basically a culture of bondage. I like that better. A culture of bondage. So yeah, if y'all can afford some gold and silver, somebody leave a comment. But if you all can afford some gold and silver, then by all means, you know, get you some gold and some silver. I recommend it. But many of our people are going to be left behind because they're going to let race keep them from important information. They're going to let race keep them from important information. You know, we follow folks like Kaepernick that tell us that the NFL is slavery, but he still wants to play in it. So we'll listen to Kaepernick, but then some white person over here, we won't listen to them because we feel like they're racist. Keep in mind, Kaepernick ain't giving you no information, ain't giving you no game, ain't preparing you for nothing. None of these people that are quote-unquote leaders or activists in our community are preparing our people for the Great Reset. You ain't heard nobody talking about the Fourth Industrial Revolution and how our people are not even being mentioned in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. They're not even mentioning our people. They're not even being mentioned, which lets you know they don't have any plans for our people to be in what? The Fourth Industrial Revolution. So that means we're going to have AI. We're going to have people replacing the labor force with robots. We're going to have everything going to be technological. It's just insane at the pace the world is moving, and they got our people stuck on race. How are you going to make it in a world? How are you going to make it in a world where everything is going to be technological and you focused on racism? How you going to say a robot's racist? How y'all going to say that a robot is racist? I know what we're going to do. We're going to say they programmed the robot to be racist. Keep in mind, every time they run their simulations with the AI always end up saying humans got to go. Every time they run them simulations with AI, AI get to the point and say humans got to go. Y'all the problem. So I'm just letting you know the whole mindset of AI. But our people want to be oppressed. I keep telling you all, I guarantee y'all go look it up. There are so many hate crimes that we have falsified and perpetuated. I'm telling you, man, listen, I'm telling you. I've been peeped it. I was like, every time I see this stuff, I'm like, something is not right, man. Something is not right. Something ain't right, man. I'm like, nah, it's not that obvious. When, like, okay, prime example. When the NASCAR driver said it was a noose, they said it was a noose hanging from his garage. And it wasn't no noose. It was the thing that pulls the lever down for the garage door. They said the rope hanging was a noose when it was the rope they used to pull down the garage. It's just, this stuff is fake. We don't interact enough with white people for it to be an issue. America is segregated. We don't interact with white folks enough for it to be a problem. Think about the average black person. The average black person is not even encountering that many white people in a week. That's why they got to jump on any kind of viral moment where a white person is doing something they deem as racist. That they deem as racist. And folks hear me and they say, this the number one argument. They say, Blanche, why don't you hold white people accountable? And my response is, I do. I talk about Klaus Schwab. I talk about Bill Gates. I talk about Elon Musk. I talk about Jeff Bezos. I talk about George Soros. Notice they all got something in common, or most of them, excluding Bill Gates. I talk about Trudeau. I talk about Newsom. I talk about Biden. I talk about a whole bunch of white folks. I talk about the white folks, though, that's actually doing something. Y'all want me to talk about white folks in the trailer park, or white folks at Walmart, or white folks out in public and you getting mad at them with your phone out. I don't focus on them. I focus on the ones actually doing something, because the average white person doesn't have any power over you. And quiet as kept, ain't no white privilege. You know I ain't no white privilege? Because when they cut this system off, you're going to see it's going to be the ones that was prepared and the ones that's not. And what's going to happen is a lot of folks that look like you ain't prepared. Now listen, they've been setting y'all up this whole time, because you see most of our information comes from what somebody told us, or what CNN said, or what the Shade Room said. So most of our information is not even coming from the right source, and it's inaccurate. So when this stuff starts happening at a rapid pace, like how many of your woke leaders in your community told you to get some silver or to get some gold? How many folks told you that that's going to collapse the system? How many folks told you about an EMP, a cyber attack? Klaus Schwab been talking about a cyber attack. The U.S. going to put a cyber attack on themselves. It ain't going to be Russia. It ain't going to be Russia doing it. They want you to think white folks are racist, because when in your hour of need, a lot of white folks are going to be prepared. They're going to have the knowledge and the information to help you get ahead in this thing. So they don't want you talking to them. They don't want you talking to them. Imagine if everything go dark right now. And listen, there's one guy I know, Trad Cat Knight. I go on his podcast about once a month. And that dude told me he's prepared to live for 6 years. 6 years. He got stuff stored up for 6 years. You can go get silver from any coin place, any pawn shop, any coin place. Just Google the coin place in your area and they'll have them. And I got a friend of mine, she has an actual website where she sells it. And I'm going to do a commercial for her pretty soon when she gets her website up. But you can buy it. You can either buy it online or in your local area. But the guy I know on his, that go on the Trad Cat Night, he got 6 years worth of supplies, food, and he got medical, 6. So that means if it goes dark tomorrow and it goes dark for a year, he's not stressing for a year, which means he's already a year ahead of the curve. That means he can focus on other stuff. You see, most folks, when this stuff goes down, are going to be focused on surviving. They're not going to be prepared. So you gotta focus on just the day-to-day survival. I'm telling you, it's a bunch of white folks that have bunkers. It's a bunch of white folks that have farms. It's a bunch of white folks that got acres. It's a bunch of white folks that are prepared. They got weapons, got a plan. And these folks get on TV every day telling y'all that all white folks are racist. You know why? Because they want you to die. How many folks from your community, from our community, that you know that are actually prepared? That are actually prepared for this great reset? How many do y'all know? He wasn't in the military. He wasn't. He played college ball. I think he played overseas. He wasn't in the military though. But the problem is the red pill movement. White folks were on the red pill movement before we were, because quiet as kept, a lot of white folks didn't trust the government since the beginning. So that stuff was passed down in their families to not trust the government. We say we didn't trust it. We used to say it, and we say it now. We don't trust the government is. But them white folks act on it. We just talk about it. Them white folks act on it. Them white folks prepare. Them white folks said, we don't trust the government, and we're going to prepare. So they grandparents, they great-grandfather and grandfather and fathers prepared for this moment right now, because they saw the writing on the wall. You see, when they saw the writing on the wall, they saw hieroglyphics. When we saw writing on the wall, we thought it was graffiti. So at the end of the day, what I'm telling y'all is, we are not prepared for what's taking place, and they're telling you to not talk to folks that are prepared because they want you to die. They're going to get on CNN and the Shade Room and on social media and tell y'all to go down to them green zones, to them FEMA camps. And I'm telling you right now, if you go down there, In order to leave, you got to give them your soul. I'm just telling y'all. So before you get near bite from that choke sandwich they got, or that soggy apple they're going to give you to eat, they're going to make you get jabbed or chipped or tagged. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. I just read and realized that the mark of the beast is three things. It's a mark, it's a number, and it's something else. You might know what it is, Mimi. I forgot the scripture. I think it's Revelations 13, but it's a mark, it's the numbers, and it's something else. The name. It's the mark or the name or the number. So the mark of the beast is going to be three different things. That's how they're going to trick people. Now, the Bible says that folks will know it's the mark of the beast. They're going to know, but folks don't think they slick because it's going to be three different things. And some folks might get all three, but some folks going to think because it's three different things that this one won't be the mark and that one will be the mark, or this one won't be the mark and that one. So at the end of the day, it's all going to be the mark. It's just going to look different depending on the person. It's just going to look different depending on the person. But yeah, man. So yeah. Yes, Mimi. The enemy will always try to lie and distract. That's why I tell you all, if they're telling you something is racist, then it's not. If they're telling you something is not racist, then it is. The devil deals with inversion. The devil can only appeal to you if you want something of this world. That's the only way. If you want something of this world, then that gives the devil an end. If you want, so that means that Satan is going to set a trap. Satan will set the trap, but deep down inside, you wanted the cheese. Because the trap is only based on what you want. The trap is only based on what you want. So if they get on TV telling you something is racist, then it's not. And they tell you it is not racist, it is. They've been setting us up. They have been setting us up. And so we got Juicy Smollett in the courtroom acting out a poorly written script from Empire. Like I said in the last video, that I believe that Lee Daniels put him up to that because Lee Daniels wanted to make a film with the first gay superhero. And I believe he wanted to use Juicy Smollett. So he had to use somebody. Yeah, he had to use somebody that was convincing. He's saying, I'm not suicidal. Nobody believe. Who said you were? Like I'm not suicidal. If something happened to Juicy Smollett in that prison, it won't be because of this incident. Nobody in jail is going to be mad he tried to trick the police. Nobody in jail is going to be mad he tried to trick the police. And the police ain't going to bother him for what? They can't. If the police lay a hand on that man, it's going to be a lawsuit. I guarantee they said, don't touch him. Put him over here, protect him, because they know if anything happened to him, it's going to be a lawsuit, and the woke mob going to demand justice, and the Chicago PD will end up paying $100 million behind Juicy Smollett running his mouth in prison and getting knocked out, or soliciting it in the jail and getting knocked up. Nah, he ain't going general population. Of course not. He can't go general population. He can't go. What we talking about, man? He will be a celebrity in jail. He may even get weekend home passes. Watch. They gonna let him go home on the weekend. I'm telling you, man. Listen, the LGBTQP, don't forget XYZ community, does not do negative press. They don't. You don't see nobody from their community getting negative press. You don't. 100% of the rapes in prison are committed by homosexuals. If you go to an all-male prison, 100% of the rapes are committed by the prisoners that are homosexual. That's why the media never talks about it. It's negative press, because you would have to address homosexual men raping men. So you don't mention it, even though it's a big thing in prison, even though it goes on. So yeah, man. But we didn't want Juicy to get in trouble. Mimi mentioned the unclean spirit. And really it is spiritual. It's just a lack of character. We lack character. We lack character. That's all. So we blaming white people, we blaming racism, we blaming everybody. But at the end of the day, it boils down to character. Because when you operate or live a life in character, or operate in character, then you activate God. You activate God when you walk in character and live a life of character. Now you get God involved. What we're trying to do is, we're trying to pretend to be righteous, but getting Satan involved. That's why we get the results we get. That's why when that white guy says all black people should get life insurance, then the police killings will stop, I said, y'all, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. If the police, if the insurance companies were putting pressure on the police, it would be for the police to stop us from killing each other. And I wish folks would look at the numbers of actual police killings in our community. You got to think about unarmed people of our community being killed. 0.03% of the homicides in our community are caused by the police. 0.03%. That is almost 0%. And they're telling you to get life insurance so that the police will stop. I said it's just the dumbest thing, but it's a liberal argument though. The police would have to police us even more to keep us from killing each other. The police would have to set up, basically, they would have to implement martial law to keep us from killing each other, because we account for over half of the homicides in the country. And you know we already spiritually wicked, because when I make these talking points, the first thing we say is, white folks kill each other too. So that lets you know we're already literally morally and spiritually compromised. White folks kill each other too. We have 1,000 abortions a day. White women get abortions too. So you already know that we are spiritually wicked and corrupt. It's why the Bible talks about the Most High giving the people over to a reprobate mind. Giving the people over to a reprobate mind, meaning we're already there. So pretty soon, God's going to say, you know what? Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Go ahead. We sitting there trying to champion folks like Juicy Smollett and Colin Kaepernick. Man, these people are frauds, man. They're frauds. Anybody on TV talking about racism is a fraud. Michelle Obama says she's afraid for her daughters to get their driver's license. Why? What do you see I wish we would just step back, but the problem is our self-esteem is so low because they tell us that we oppressed every day on TV and social media. So we don't have any self-esteem. We don't feel good about ourselves. We just walk around with our head. I heard so many folks say, man, what's going to happen is going to happen. Man, the world going to end in the cowards. I was telling some folks, I said, if we had been protesting this jab, they wouldn't be able to do it. If we had been tearing up the streets from this jab, they would not have been able to do it, because the media, the mainstream media, responds to social media. The mainstream media is not responding to Republicans or conservatives. The mainstream media is responding to social media. That's why when y'all said, we can't get corona, that's for white folks. Soon as we said that, bam, they said that we got hit the most with it. They said that soon as we said we couldn't die from it, they said we died the most from it. Everything they do is a response to social media because they can't control the social media. That's why it's so much censorship. They'll never censor nobody for saying America's racist. But they'll censor somebody for saying that Joe Biden was racist. Do you know somebody that follows me on Instagram put a clip up from one of my videos of Joe Biden saying, if you don't know who to vote for between me and Donald Trump, then you ain't black. Do you know that Instagram removed that video? You know what the reason was? Hate speech. Instagram removed the video of Joe Biden saying, if you don't know who to vote for me between you and Donald Trump and you ain't black, removed it from his page because they said it was hate speech. Listen, I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up. But I just want us to just not listen to people like Juicy Smollett and people like Colin Kaepernick. They're frauds. They're both frauds. Colin Kaepernick is training 7 days a week to get into an NFL that he said is like slavery. He wants to be a slave. Why are you listening to him? Juicy Smollett staged the hate crime with a fake news. The man said he got beat up, but he still had the tuna fish sandwich in his hand. It's fake. These people can only exist under the guise of being oppressed. The only way they can do what they're doing is if they're seen as they're oppressed. It's a setup. And then somebody like me who's not oppressed, they don't want to let me talk because I call them out. I address black culture. These folks censoring everything. Instagram just removed IGTV. You know why? Because there's too much information being shown on these long videos. So anything over a minute, they don't want to show it. Yeah, he was getting fired from he was getting let go from Empire. Listen, man, ain't nobody watching that mess. Ain't nobody watching. That show started off hot. Then they made it about the LGBTQ movement and some foolishness through black culture, and they started losing ratings. And everybody went to Power. And both Power and Empire are really black eyes to the community because they both perpetuate false narrative images that are dangerous. I keep telling y'all, when it comes to us, it's not entertainment. People believe it's real. Folks believe it's real. So when we're on TV or in movies playing a role, folks believe that it's real. So around the world, their image of us is based on what they put out into the media and what they put out into the movies, entertainment. That's why we don't control Hollywood. We don't control Hollywood for that very reason. Because we will control the narrative. We control the imagery. And y'all running around here listening to Juicy Smollett. That man got his fist red like he a fake Black Panther. It's a setup. All of it's been a setup though. Not just Juicy. Not just Colin. All of it's been a setup. Civil rights movement, Black Panthers, Nation of Islam, all of it is a setup. Everything. It's all controlled. All of it. If it was something really helping the people, they wouldn't let you do it. They wouldn't let you do it. Juicy Smollett running around here like a fake. He's a fake hero and fake activist in the courtroom with the worst script I ever heard in my life. I thought I saw Tyler Perry sitting there somewhere. It was horrible. Come on, y'all. We got to stop falling for it. We got to stop falling for it, y'all. But listen, I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to vent. But I love y'all, though. Thank y'all so much.